It's so funny, I was sort of dropping off asleep last night and I just caught the tail end. There you were on television last night, television this morning. My goodness, you're a busy girl.
I have been very busy around London, but it's been a great time.
And then you're going to Paris at the weekend just for fun.
I've never been. And I was here 25 years ago, of course, for the opening of the original opening of the movie, and I haven't been back since.
Well, it's about time you came back then, isn't it?
Yes, it was, and I'm having a really good time.
Good. Now, before we talk about the film, I just want to establish, you know, your earlier career, because it would appear, my scouts tell me you made something like 75 commercials.
I did.
When you were a little girl.
I worked in New York. I started working when I was 5, doing modeling and commercials. And I think when a child is, you know, is successful, they know they can count on you. So it's like, it would be soap commercials and toy commercials and, you know, household products, everything like that.
And did you like doing it, or were you kind of pushed to do it a bit?
Mom always sort of said, if you work and save your money, then you can do what you want. I wanted to be a veterinarian, and of course I wanted my horses, and so I sort of, I mean, I'm grateful for her work, good work ethics.
So was she the one who put you up for The Exorcist?
I was actually going to stop working in the business at that time. It wasn't my choice to go on. I really hadn't acted. Well, yeah, and commercials are different than film work, and I really hadn't had any work in that area, so I wanted to stop, and that's when The Exorcist came along, and of course the rest is history.
But allegedly a lot of mothers, I assume, on behalf of their children, turned it down because it was so shocking, and, you know, the language was so appalling, really.
Really?
But why do you think your mum let you go ahead and do it?
Several reasons. One, as she said, I always separated the two, work and my personal life. And also because a lot of the dialogue, that heavy language, was not in the original screenplay. Might have been in the book, but it wasn't in the screenplay.
So when you came to the actual script then of having to deliver it, because I mean, you know, a girl of 12, 13, 14, you've got a good mind of your own, really. So what did you think of that?
It was, there were so many things in the film that, being young, I didn't understand. I was very naive, and if you go back that many years, I think children were even more naive about certain things. Billy would write Billy Friedkin, who directed the movie, he would rewrite the dialogue at night, and then he would present it to me, and he would say, this is what we're going to do tomorrow, and I said, oh, Billy, I can't do that. And he'd say, yeah, you can, and we know who won. And I think, you know, you do it, you dismiss it, you know, think about it again. Little did I know that when the film was released and around the world, that everybody would ask me about it, and it was a really difficult time.
So even then, when you were reading the rewritten stuff, your instinct said, I can't do this, I can't say these words. Yeah.
It was hard. You read, and of course people have heard the language in the film, but I had to do it, you know. And you just forget about it.
So of course there was a lot of fame and notoriety when the film was released, because it was much talked about, still is to this day. What sort of reaction did you get from people?
It was an overwhelming time. There's nothing that can prepare you for overnight fame like that. And being young was hard. And if it was a love story or, you know, comedy or something, it would have been different. But because it was the type of film it was, and because of it being a religious content, everyone assumed that I had the answers to everything. But there was such fear in people's eyes. I mean, journalists were looking at me and saying, well, if there's God, you know, is there the devil? And tell us what you know. And it was almost like they expected me to have these answers. And I tried really hard to answer the best of my ability, but I found that many times they would write what they wanted to, and the whole PR sort of took off on its own, and that is what made the headlines. And I think it left me a little bit in a confused area.
Yeah, because you would have appeared to have gone off the rails for a few years, to put it mildly,
yeah.
according to some reports.
And of course that's
anyway.
what they said, yeah, that I was in a mental institute, but I never was.
Was it the fame, or was it?
Oh no, I never was. They just wrote, that's what, and it was, the worst was in England. That's why I have not come back.
Oh really? But on the other hand, you did, I mean, again, if I can believe everything I read, you did go off and live with somebody of 24 when you were only 15.
Absolutely, I did.
Well, that's not kind of the norm, is it?
Well, on the other hand, it was love at first sight, and if you go back in history, many times some people do get married when they're very young, and my mother absolutely adored him, and of course it was Rick Springfield, who many people love and adore today, and everybody is like, wow, it was Rick. Rick is very youthful, And we still have great respect and love for each other.
How long did you stay with him?
We were together for 2 years.
2 years. And then there was that whole sort of alleged drug scene and so on. Was that true, or?
In America, there, I mean, around the world, really, I think it was a time period where there was a lot of drugs everywhere. And I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I did buy a dog from these people. Another person did buy some cocaine from these people. And it was a couple months later that I got the police showed up at the door, and their phones had been tapped, and I was talking about the dog. And I won in the long run, but it sort of devastated my career because everyone thought that I had a problem, which I did not.
Sure. So do you think then that you, in a way, you've spent the rest of this time trying to get over that whole hiatus?
I think my teens were a really difficult time. And then we were talking about earlier in the green room that in the 80s, there were not a lot of good roles for people my age. So it just, all of a sudden, there wasn't a lot of good work. And I was showing my horses at the time. That was very important to me, training and showing horses. And I almost went that way as a professional. Then I came back to the acting, which I really do love. And of course, and now trying to produce for myself. I develop my own projects. And they're at the studio. So one of these days, I think something will break.
Well, Linda, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your stay here. And, of course, your trip to Paris this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. Linda Blair.